Hello once again, and hello, Your Excellency, the Prime Minister of Montenegro, Milojko Spajić. We were discussing backstage, is he the youngest head of government in the world, or, in Europe, or not? We're not sure, because we think maybe the Icelandic Prime Minister. Anyway, either way, one of the youngest in the world. And you are leading the government of a small European nation, but you want that nation to open up to the world. How do you want to achieve that? What's your plan?
Absolutely. I think also what it counts for is a relevant experience. And the people, the age is also like became a relevant thing. You have many leaders in the world who are younger, but have a good experience, a relevant experience. And I think this is what counts eventually. Obviously, Montenegro is a country which is a very ethnically diverse country. That is probably in Europe is the most ethnically diverse. We don't have a majority, ethnic majority. We don't have a religious clear majority. So we had to get our act together, and the chance is you either become a great nation that can reach out to everybody, that is welcoming everybody. I always mention Singapore as an example because Singapore became like Asia for beginners, right? So it's a country that welcomes all kinds of cultures, that is easy for foreigners to adapt, to be productive and efficient. And this is how I see Montenegro becoming in the region of Balkans and Eastern Europe.
Yeah. You lowered corporate tax, corporation tax, wage taxes. Yeah. You're trying to attract essentially international investment into Montenegro and companies to come set up bases in Montenegro. Can you expand on that?
You know, our tax policy is very simple. We think the people that tie their destiny to Montenegro, be it investors, employees, workers, managers, whoever is kind of vested into Montenegro's success, we give them tax benefits. And obviously we live from tourism as well, and the people have to, when they visit our country, they pay VAT and excise tax, etc. And this is where we earn our fair share of the revenues for the country. But the people who really vest there and invest themselves into Montenegro are the people. We lower the tax rates for them. So CIT, you mentioned, corporate income tax is among the lowest in Europe, and soon it will be the lowest. PIT, various kinds of contributions that form labor tax wedge. And we have by far the lowest labor tax wedge in Europe. And the reason is, again, because the people who come to Montenegro to tie their destiny to Montenegro, we want them to be benefiting from this.
So can you give us some concrete examples? For example, since these taxes were lowered, concrete examples of corporations, of foreign investment into Montenegro that have made a difference in terms of growth for the Montenegrin economy?
So we are still, like, as a government, we are around for 2 years. And first, obviously, we needed to make preconditions for the investments to come to Montenegro. So I think we have fulfilled most of it. We still a little remains. I think end of this year we'll have another round of reforms that will be also very pro-business. But basically, we have in energy and tourism. These are the two biggest pillars of our economy. And we have seen the biggest interest as well. So we have some big names, for example, EDF, French, one of the biggest electric utility companies. We are working on a big hydropower project. Montenegro is very blessed in hydropower. And we, just to put it easily and bluntly, we are like a small Norway in that sense. We have, and what's different from Norway is that our hydropower plants are not there yet. We have untapped resources. And hydro is good because it's renewable, number one, and number two, because it's a baseload electric power. So it helps balance out the volatility of solar, of wind, and other renewables. So it's easier to manage the renewables if you have hydro input. And we have the only export link between the Eastern, or between the Balkans and Italy and the Western Europe, Central Europe, is through Montenegro. So on a daily basis, we have this subsea cable that we have installed a couple of years back, and it's working very well. We want to double the capacity. So Terna is another big investor in Montenegro. It's Italian, one of the world's biggest transmission electric transmission companies. We have Masdar from UAE is also very interested, etc., in energy field. In the field of tourism, we have one and only. We have Amman, we have Regent, and many others who have Four Seasons is now interested in, etc. So these are.
Sorry, just jumping in. Can you give us a forecast in terms of what the tourism industry contributes to GDP growth in Montenegro and where you see it going, and I guess how as well? I know one of the things you were telling me is that you dropped visa requirements for Saudi nationals.
Yes.
So Saudi nationals can go to Montenegro with no visa requirement.
No visa, absolutely. Yeah. You know, it's a sort of a show of respect of Montenegrins towards the Saudi citizens, and this is something that we really hold dearly. I know that most of the people that would come to Montenegro would have Schengen, UK, US visa anyway.
Right.
So with these visas, you would be able to enter even if we would have visa system in place. But it's a sign of respect. It's a sign of us saying, you guys are very welcome in Montenegro to do business, to visit our country, to see our culture, see for Montenegro what it is. And I would take this opportunity to call all the Saudi friends to come and see for themselves and feel Montenegro.
And this was following a visit by His Excellency the Minister of Tourism,
Yes.
who we had a conversation with earlier on this day. And have you seen a difference since you have, put in strategies in Montenegro to attract more tourism? Have you seen a difference in terms of the industry?
We see some early signs, obviously, but this is, as I said, it's not a matter of just pure accounting matter, plus and minus. It's also a sign of respect and deep investment in a long-term relationship. Mm-hmm. So this is how we operate and how we want to be seen. And for us, this, the visa-free regime, despite the big pressure from Brussels to align our visa policies with EU visa policy, which is obviously something that we constantly negotiate and have to think about. But in regards, for us, this is a very important relationship that we just want to honor. Yeah. And in terms of tourism, you mentioned, and I think Montenegro's tourism and the energy strategy is, we have one of the lowest, or actually in Europe, the lowest electricity price. And energy, why electrical power is so important, and it's a base for building many other industries. For example, data centers. This is a big topic these days that we discuss, and we would love to invite data center investors and people interested in using the capabilities and the use cases of Montenegro. Because of we have very cheap electricity, number one, and number two, we have mountains which have a climate very similar to Norwegian climate.
Yeah.
So it makes all the sense to base some of the data centers there, and we have this connectivity with Italy through the subsea cable and through the Trans-Balkan and cross-European corridors. We are interconnected with most of Europe.
One of the issues with data centers, and there have been complaints from residents who live around data centers, is that they pollute and that they use a lot of water. What about environmental concerns?
We take environmental concerns very seriously. So I'm a Japanese student, so I did my undergrad in Japan, and in their constitution they're not to have an army. And they came up with the GATI, which is a self-defense force that basically kind of replaces it. So they take constitution very seriously. They're very, very serious about it. We take our constitution that was made in 1990s, and we are the first ecological state in the world by constitution. So we take our own constitution very seriously. And every project that we make has to be in line with the highest ecological standards. And as I said, the benefit of being located in some of the cooler areas, like mountains, etc., is exactly you don't need so much water for cooling.
Yeah.
So this is the biggest benefit of the Montenegro, picking up Montenegro as a data center location. As I said, we also are welcoming. It's very easy to catch the talent, not only from Montenegro, which is a small HR pool, to be honest, but from the whole region of the Balkans and Eastern Europe, where that we have a lot of engineering talent.
Yeah.
So I think we can be we can build a good base for the tourism, as we just concluded, but also for energy and applications of energy, such as data centers and the new technologies.
I find interesting the notion that you have a small HR pool, which just because your population is small.
Exactly.
So how do you compensate for that as a small country?
Openness. You
As
have
in
to be
people can come and establish
Exactly.
themselves as
Exactly.
working, contributing to the economy of Montenegro.
Exactly. We don't have ethnic majority, so people are welcoming foreigners and welcoming
Because that's an issue in some EU countries, as you know. A lot of popular resistance against immigration.
Obviously, immigration has to be tackled very carefully, and this is a big topic, and it's serious topic that needs to undergo a lot of considerations and has to be managed very, very, very well. So if you manage things well, obviously, I think you can get much more benefits than the downside. Especially because now we see a lot of regional folks from the region or from the wider region. They tend to come to Montenegro, and they do very well in Montenegro. So we are, as I said, we are very diverse already, and I think this is a big plus for us on this HR pool fetching.
Because your population is very small, right?
It
it's
is.
700,000?
600,000.
600,000. Right. Yeah.
At any point of time, probably around 500,000 people live in Montenegro, stay in Montenegro.
Right, and so, but you feel like there is room there to kind of add to that through immigration, through companies investing from the outside?
You know, absolutely. I mean, for us, as I said, if you get big investments, you need people who would be able to kind of lead these investments and to have, and HR pool is something that is definitely a limiting factor for us. So yes, we are very keen to bring smartest and brightest of the world. They're welcome to Montenegro.
I saw you have meetings here and you're meeting with high-level officials. What is it that you're trying to achieve as the Prime Minister of a country like Montenegro?
I'm trying to introduce Montenegro as is in the best possible light that I can, obviously, and this is it. You know, I think, as I said in the beginning, I would like to welcome people to Montenegro. I would love to host them. I would like to show them all the potentials, and I would like them to see for themselves. You know, because seeing is believing, and you know, this is something that this leap of faith is something they definitely should take.
What is it? What is the one thing that you want people to know about your country?
One thing that people should...
I mean, the most important message that you'd like to send out about Montenegro?
Is exactly this openness that I keep talking about, is that we are a country that offers a lot, many opportunities. We are not asking for things. We are asking for collaboration. We are asking for partnerships. And that's it. We're not...
I want to pick up on one thing you said about the EU putting pressure. So, I mean, what kind of pressure in terms of, they want Montenegro to align itself in terms of its visa policy. Is that, obviously it's not pressure that's changing your policy or your approach, but how do you navigate that? You know,
it's, EU is a big market, and it's obviously our strategic orientation, and we are the front runner in that accession process, and we are the closest to join EU. So we should, by end of 26, we will close all the chapters, and we will be fully ready to join EU. We'll be fully aligned with European acquis, etc. So obviously, like, if you want to benefit from the single market of 500 million relatively wealthy people, you have to follow some rules.
So will that change your Saudi visa policy?
This is, you know, but definitely, but again, there are things that are priority, national interest, and they are the obviously, once you join Schengen, etc., there's no space for negotiations. But as long as there are space for negotiations, like now, we are always going to defend our national interests and the things that we hold dearly to ourselves.
So the goal is EU membership, and then the euro?
We already use euro for more than 20 years. And we are in a specific situation where we are quasi-Eurozone member. We are NATO member, so we are in SEPA, so all the settlements and payments and transactions that happen, they happen without the fees with European countries. So we are the first country outside of European Economic Area to join SEPA. We're going to be part of very soon from the next year, part of the telco. So we are becoming increasingly part of the European common market. And obviously, we want to benefit from the big market. But at the same time, as I said, it's very important that we also keep some of the national interests. And every country in Europe, does that. So
it's interesting you use the euro, but are not part of the Eurozone. So how does that work exactly?
To be formally part of Eurozone, you have to follow some of the steps. So once we are in EU, there'll be a process of lasting 2 or 3 years that we will need to undertake to become formally part of Eurozone. But we use euros as the only currency. Sure. So we are interesting. It's another thing what's probably for investors, why Montenegro is interesting, is because for us, we live in a quasi-gold standard. For us, euro is gold, basically. Yeah. So to acquire euros, we need to sell, we either need to sell our assets, services, or goods. So we need to give something real in return for euros, which makes the pricing of Montenegro assets fair. Right. And not inflated by the QEs of the past. So this is a big difference between Montenegro using euro and Eurozone members using euros that basically get inflation of the assets by virtue of the QE. So one of the reasons why Montenegro is a good investment opportunity is because we are reasonably priced.
All right. Well, Prime Minister, thank you very much for that. It was a really interesting conversation on a country that doesn't often get discussed on the global stage, but you really want to open it up, attract investors, and attract tourists. And hopefully some of you will visit. Thanks so much.
Thank you.